Greetings, Professor McKee here with another quick Excel tip your finance professor wishes you knew. In this video, we will learn how to use the NPER function in Excel to find the maturity for a zero coupon bond. In any intro finance class, you will have a unit on bonds, and we professors will always have questions where we give you a zero coupon bond and ask you to find the characteristics. If you want to ace those questions, this video is for you. I have prepared a question up here asking us to find the maturity of a zero coupon bond. Now, for any time value of money type question, we want to take this verbal description and turn it into the actual numbers we need to do our calculations down below. So N is our first one. This is the number of months until the bond matures, but we don't know that, so we leave it blank for now. Our interest rate or yield to maturity is the 0.5%, so we put in 0.005. Present value is the price, $9.50. And future value is our face value, $1,000. And of course, pretty much all bonds will be $1,000. Now, I do need to make one change here, which is to make my present value negative. The reason I do this is because the Excel function we're about to use assumes we find number of periods from somebody's perspective. And the Excel function simply doesn't work properly if we give the wrong signs on cash flows. In this case, it's going to be present value and future value. In this example, I am going to be treating the bond as though it is from my perspective. So I am purchasing the bond, which means the price is a negative cash flow for me because I'm paying money, and I will then receive the face value once it matures. So that's going to be positive cash flow for me. They're going to go in different directions. Now, if you're lucky and you make a mistake with these signs, you'll get an error message, and then that way you know something's wrong. You can go in and fix it. If we're unlucky, we don't get an error message. We get an actual number, but the number's wrong, and we get our answer incorrect. Okay, so let's go over to B6, type in equals NPER, and Excel displays the parameters we need to enter. Our first parameter is rate, stands for interest rate, and that's going to be the 0.005 that we put in for interest rate. PMT stands for payment, and this is referring to interest payments during the life of the loan, not our final face value payment. Now, since this is a zero coupon bond, we know that there are no interest payments besides that single face value payment. So PMT for zero coupon bonds is always going to be 0. Present value is our price, that's the negative $9.50. And future value, face value, is that 1,000. It's in brackets because there's a default value of 0, but the U.S. government better pay us the 1,000 or there's going to be some problems. And close brackets because we don't need to change the mode here. And we get 10.28, and that's our answer. 10 and a little bit extra months is the maturity for this bond. Now, suppose we want to be a little fancier. Use better Excel practices, and most importantly, be able to take this Excel file and reuse it for future zero coupon bond questions. We can use cell references. So instead of hard coding in our parameters directly, I'm going to clear them out, and we're going to tell Excel what cell to reference for those numbers. So for 8, that was our first one, we put in B7. Payment, we actually leave that alone as 0 because it'll always be 0 no matter what our zero coupon bond looks like. Present value was B8 in present value for $9.50, and future value was B9 for future value of 1,000. And then we get the exact same 10.28. We can now save this file, and if we have a different question with a different bond, we can still find the maturity. We just need to change some of the values. Probably future value will never change, but if we have a new interest rate or a new price, we can see what the new maturity that matches those needs to be. So suppose we have a different price. we would pay $920 instead of $950. So I just go in, change $950 to $920, and my maturity immediately updates. With the new lower price, which means I earn more money, to make my interest rate the same, I have to wait longer to make them equivalent. Now, mathematically, my NPER function here is exactly the same as just finding the maturity for a single cash flow. So if you want to review how to do that without using the zero coupon bond terminology, I have included a link in my video covering it in the description. And with this single function, we can now find the maturity of any zero coupon bond your professor might throw at you. If you found this video helpful, please comment, like, and/or subscribe so that other students can find it too. Happy studying!